Hey, what's up, everyone? This is James Reyes here. We got my buddy Joe Lamont on the video here tonight. Super excited. Joe, introduce yourself, man.
Um, Thank you, Jimbo. Well, first of all, I've been a huge fan since the beginning. I remember when you started this page and you only had a couple thousand followers at the time. I was like, wow, like this page is awesome. You know, it gives you intel, even for someone knowledgeable. It's just nice to see someone else share the hobby and to watch you grow. Congratulations to you, and I think you're in a great step in the right direction, and you're gonna be doing big things soon. But
Cheers,
I'm
to you, brother.
yeah, hey, cheers.
Cheers to you, brother. Appreciate it.
But anyways, my name is Joe Lamont. I'm a senior at Florida Atlantic University. Finally getting my degree this year. I am a former collegiate athlete. I played baseball at a junior college out in Los Angeles, California, and I got the privilege to play Division I last year. It was a great experience. Not everything went the correct way, but life never does. And with this year, with COVID, I just chose to kind of focus on school and other things, and kind of just hold off. But hope everyone, that if you're watching this video, everyone's safe, alive, healthy, your family's well, and hopefully we can just wait it out until things are normal again. Um,
And no, yeah, Joe. No, thanks for that. Yeah, hopefully this video, takes away all the reality for some people right now, what's going on, and get them out of it, enjoy, talk the hobby, enjoy the cards. Like, we love the cards. So no, that's great, man. Yeah, it's super unfortunate. Um, but at the end of the day, it all works out, and super excited to have you on. I know we've been talking here.
Pleasure is all mine.
Yeah, I know we've been talking here for a little bit. So yeah, so just I guess we go ahead and explain like some of the how we got connected to as well, and yeah, I'll just let you kind of take the floor on that.
Yeah, so I remember I reached out to you, like I said, when you had a very little like of a following base, and we just started to me and Jimbo just started to talk, and we share the same like hobby, and it's at the end of the day, it's not only can it be profitable, but it's also a passion, it's fun, and it's something that it can bring anybody together. You don't even have to have the same background, but to share the hobby in cards, it's awesome. But yeah, so basically I reached out to Jimbo here, and I showed him a little bit of kind of like a little bit of a portfolio of like what I've invested in, and how I've done it during school, and just like it pretty much like a process and stuff like that. And I'm very excited to talk about it here, and just also learn a little bit off you too, man. I love being able to learn knowledge, and you never know enough. For everyone watching, you even if you think you might know it all, in reality you don't. You can always learn something new. There's always a better investment, there's always a new thing. But at the end of the day, trust your investments and just feel confident, like it's going to rise, it's going to fall, and at the end of the day, believe in what you invested in, and
Enjoy the ride.
yeah,
Oh,
enjoy the ride, because those
guys.
when
Yeah,
you're down, it hurts. But then when you're back up, being down is like, man, that kind of was like cool. It's a roller coaster. It's constant up and down.
literally getting chills from that, because there's times where you're like, damn, like, I'm losing some cash right now, but at the end of the day, you're like, I need to
Oh,
get out. And then, but when when he gets back up there, it's worth all. It's just like anything, like it's worth. It makes it even more fun. Uh,
100%.
but yeah, dude, super excited to have you on. We're gonna talk some cards here. I'm not gonna lie, Joe and I, when we were talking when we first talked, it was literally giving me like images in my head, like, oh my gosh, this is like we're literally living the same life. So yeah, just for me, I was like, dude, we got to do a video, man. Like, this is gonna be fun. You're gonna ramble, I'm gonna ramble. We're gonna help each other not ramble.
We're gonna try to be each other's mediator here.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, you're right. And just super excited for this, man. And my biggest thing is I for my thing is, there's a lot of learning examples that we're gonna have in this video. And my biggest thing is, I know when we first talked was when some of the cards that you bought when you first started, and certain players that you believed in, and why you bought them and why you sold them and why it's okay to buy, like, sell them and buy them. And I just want you to kind of run you through the lifetime of your the hobby that you've been in the hobby, and it kind of just explained to everyone exactly what you were like, basically what you've been up to the last X amount of years in the hobby.
Yeah. So I'm 24, and I've been doing it probably since I was about. I've been ripping packs since I was 5, but in reality, about 8 years old, I started going to card events, and I was actually making $1,000 deals when I was 12 and 13 years old. But to 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 kind of build off that, I didn't. To make it clear, I didn't start with a lot. So I mean, my dad would obviously buy me like boxes and stuff like that and packs, and obviously, if I got lucky, I could. It would just give money to like float around. But I kind of remember like it was yesterday. I had these things. I went to my mom's printer and I had a book just like this. And I got some green crayons and just a pen, and I started like chalking it, like looking like grass in the back. And I walked it down my street, offered like 10 or 15 bucks to mow your lawn. And I got a lot of interest. Obviously, as a young kid, people probably enjoyed the hustle. And I just took that money, and instead of kind of like wasting it and buying other stuff with it, like candy or just blowing it, I invested in a guy named Mike Trout. If you ever watch this video,
That's a big fish.
I've been a huge fan since the beginning. I followed you all through Rancho Cucamonga days, going on the internet, just looking how you did, and it was a fun ride. I kind of feel like I was there with you a little bit, even though I wasn't. I couldn't help you out, but it was an awesome ride. But I was buying Topps updates for $30. Oh my God, don't we all wish we could go back? And so basically, I was buying these updates for 30, and when he got in the league, he jumped a little bit because the hype was around him, and so I would flip them, and then I'd like buy stuff back, and I would make like a $200 or $300 profit, and I'd jump on eBay and I'd buy some more stuff and kind of just build and build and build. So eventually, I did get into college, and it was my freshman year. Just finished up my freshman year. I had surgery, slid into home plate. Don't slide in head first. For everybody out there, don't do it. Take my advice. And yeah, so Mike Trout was booming at that time. It was late 2016, early 2017. And I just had all these cards, and I had about $2,800 invested, and it ended up turning out to right around my estimate of about $13,000. So like any young freshman in college that was broke and didn't have a lot of money, I sold. And that's something that I'm going to touch on. You can't always be mad. Jimbo, I'm sure you got stuff that you could talk about for hours, weeks, months. We all probably can.
I honestly don't even want to think about it.
I'm the same way. I get sick to my stomach when I roll through my camera roll and just go back a bunch of years, and it's just like what I could have done. But at the time,
goosebumps.
You need the money. Sometimes you just need the money, and it's just more of a kind of like as a kid, investing $2,800 and turning it to 13,000, roughly. It was awesome, but it killed me, as I'm sure it would have did yourself. Selling the guy you rode with for years and you just paid attention to. So I was sitting around, and of course I had other guys in my collection, but my next thing was, all right, made this money. Do I go and waste it, or what do I do with it? I was like, nah, I got to find out who's next. And invested in Giannis Antetokounmpo. And the reason behind that is I was in Cleveland, and they were staying at Tower City. I flew in for December. I met him. I had the pleasure of meeting him back in late 20s, or it was either early 2017, late 2016. Awesome guy. Just no one was going for him at the time. I was the only one there.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
He definitely seems like he's definitely someone I would drink with, just to be honest with you.
And guess who was on that team? Matthew Dellavedova. I'm a Cleveland guy. Been a big fan. Grew up in Cleveland, and whenever time I play basketball, they would scream, "Pass Dellavedova the ball!" Like reverting to me. And
it's probably Jimbo down low. I was his biggest fan for sure.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've been a diehard fan, of course. Just Cavaliers and bringing the championship home to Cleveland. It's just something special. You should never have to pay for a meal in Cleveland, and you can quote me on that. And you
Hear
can
that, Deli?
anybody. You are a Cleveland legend. And yeah, you're great, man. You're great. But I
Yeah.
had the pleasure of meeting him, and so I invested in Giannis. I just bought a lot of prisms and stuff like that, and I'm gonna touch on that later on kind of knowing what to buy and trying to get the most ROI out of your investment as possible. That's like the biggest thing, knowing what to buy in this hobby, and I get that question a lot from a lot of people. They're like, well, how do I know this card, or how is this card going to go up more than this card? But that's going to be later. But yeah, so I bought all these prisms. I had gold standards, everything, rookie autos. Always buy rookies. If you got a feeling with a guy, always rookie cards is the way to go nowadays, because cards are booming. Maybe even second year. I don't know how sold I am on that for a long term, but for a short term right now, the second year thing's kind of doing its thing. I personally am not going to invest in it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't, or anybody out there shouldn't. I'm sure you got something to touch up on that.
Yeah, for me, it's like, and this is just my opinion is, obviously there's money to make in a lot of different things, a lot of different versions, second year, 30, whatever it is. But in my opinion, it's all about what's going to appreciate the most and the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can make money on second year prisms and all this other stuff, which is great. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. And, I might not be correct on this, but I'm going for something where I want something where I might have to pay a little bit more and maybe get a little bit less. But at the long run, like the appreciation value,
Right.
This is one term that stuck with me for my entire life. I'd rather have a dirty quarter than a shiny penny. So
you hear that, everybody? You hear that, everybody? It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality.
Yeah. And honestly, like for me, it's like, it's all about percent. So I'm a finance guy where, I could have, I could buy 20 second year cards and maybe make $5 out of them, Oh yeah, that like that. No, don't get me wrong, that's good profit,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I could buy one card with what I paid for all those 20, and then make way more percent wise. So that's just my opinion, though. I think the card market exploded so fast during COVID, where so many people were coming into the hobby, which they still are, and a lot of people that maybe not be as educated in the hobby, which is fine. But they're like, hey, everyone's telling me I need to buy a Luka Doncic PSA 10 Prizm. I can't spend, and we'll carry on there. I can't spend X, a couple $1,000s on this card. I'm going to buy a second year Prizm for what, $30, and then that's how I got up to 100, which is great, but it's not sustainable.
Long term. It's gonna.
Exactly. Like if you bought it at 30 and you sold it for 50, hell yeah. But if you bought it for 30 thinking you're going to put it away and forget about it for a year, now I don't even know. So
I'm not going to quote it. I don't even look. I mean, but also you got to remember, we kind of got into this at a different time than the people that are going to be getting into it now. So not that we're, like I said, it's not that we're more knowledgeable. It's just the fact that it's a different time now, and you got to adapt to where you're in,
We've seen a whole life cycle.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what I tell everyone, like people that are new getting in, like, don't go heavy when you first start. Like go from start a little bit.
I love that. Yeah.
It's literally just like stocks, where you literally go past like the last 10 years, look at the, the trend lines and everything, and make your evaluations of who you should buy now from that. So just don't go too heavy in the beginning, spend all your money, and then be disappointed in a year because you like buying Prizm draft for football, where you're buying guys in college uniforms. Dude, I get this question all the time, which is fine.
College uniforms, everybody, whoever's listening, unless it's really cheap, don't put your money into it. It's got to be super, super cheap. I think I have one. It's actually sitting right next to me. Not to cut you off, but I got this for really cheap a long time ago, and I've just had it. It's a Devin Booker in a Kentucky jersey. So that we're gonna touch on him in a little bit. So that's a little sneak peek right there.
For me, it's more for for football. So this year's rookies, so like Joe Burrow and all that. Everyone's asking, should I buy this? They're a great flip. Don't get me wrong in the beginning. So you buy them, you flip them, but as soon as the NFL Prizm comes out, November 18th of this year, make sure you get rid of all of them, because last year, so you could buy a Joe Burrow card for, I don't know, they're probably like around $20 or $20.
Probably somewhere. That sounds about right.
But if you look at a Kyler Murray from last year Prizm draft, they're like maybe, I don't know, maybe $10. Like, and obviously they're two different players or whatnot, but you're
it's a trend. It's like it's a cycle, and being able to pick up on that, it's gonna only help you in the long run. I
and
mean, that's a great point.
yeah. So that's like for me, it's like me trying making this page is educating people in that, so they're not going too heavy and stuff like that, where they're going to be disappointed, have a bad taste in their mouth about the hobby, and never get back into it.
Exactly. And that's what we both and everyone else, the more the merrier in this hobby. I mean, I wish everybody could have gotten into it. And it was crazy. Like growing up, my friends didn't share this. So like it was always kind of like my quiet thing that I would do. It was almost like just
Same here,
I
man.
had my life and then I had like my card life. So it's great. I love the fact that it's kind of blowing up and people are getting into it. But knowing how to invest, it can still be fun, but let it be fun and make a little bit of money too. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and no, 100%. So like for me, none of my friends growing up were card people ever.
Same. Yeah.
None. I couldn't find
Not one. Yeah.
I had like everyone that I was friends with that invested in cards were like just old people. Like just that's how the hobby used to be.
Yeah.
And then luckily now it's so e-commerce, it's so social, like it's on so many platforms, it makes it so much fun. Where like for me, I have a bunch of like card friends all over the country, and I get to talk cards with them. And then
Nowadays.
yeah.
Nowadays, right. Yeah.
We're rambling, both of us, and I love it because that's who we are and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you have some good knowledge. I want to hear about some of this. So we were at Giannis.
Yeah.
Sold Giannis, and then I forget who it was.
We didn't touch on Trout, and then I bought Giannis. We didn't touch on just about yet. So with Giannis, so I bought Giannis probably around like the late as soon as I sold Trout, which was about late 2017 or about middle to late 2017. So I was struggling who was next. I did my homework. I've always loved basketball. I had a ton of Topps Chrome LeBrons growing up. What Cleveland kid that was into cards wouldn't? Obviously, you know what those are worth nowadays. I'm not even going to get into it. But basically, I was seeking somebody that was cheap. Now, I want everyone to keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be like you were touching on. Like everyone's like, I got to get a Luka. I got to get him. I got to get him. I got to get him. Don't get too hung up on the fact about Luka. And trust me, we are going to talk about Luka Doncic because I have quite to say about him. But kind of seek out who really isn't that crazy at the moment, but also see their peak. Like if you can see them peaking to that, or at least in your mind, you can feel them or see them peaking to that, invest in that. Try to find something that other people aren't investing in. But so basically bought Giannis for dirt cheap, probably paid $80 per PSA 10 Prizm. Anyways, I come home. I had gold standards, uncirculated. I've had a bunch that I subbed into PSA and Beckett, which are the best grading services, by the way, and we're going to touch on that as well. Came home. It was first week of June, and it was like one of those things: just buy it, throw them in a corner. Giannis wasn't popping at that time. Granted, I hadn't been home in about a year and a half. So I come home and I open my drawer, and I just have all these Giannis cards, like Prizms, gold standards, all rookie autos, all rookies. Every single one a rookie, not one second year. Trust me, I wish I would have bought the second years at the time because I probably could have got them for $1 each. Yeah. But anyways, so my investment was very cheap. I would, like I said, about $80 per PSA 10. I had gold standards uncirculated for about 175, blah, blah, blah. So, I came back and the Prizms were about $600-700 a pop. So I was like, like why not? I had about, 5 or 6 of them. I wish I would have kept one. I didn't. Once again, one of those things. You're making money. What you can't complain. When you're making money and you're making that type of ROI, anybody in this world would want to double their money. I mean, you're talking like 8, 9, 10 times your money. So when you're talking about that type of numbers, you should get excited. You shouldn't look back on the fact where you could have made more. No. But so I sold all my Giannis's, and then it was kind of like the same thing again. And I'll let you step in.
Yeah. So no, those are all great points. So like one thing that I do is, and this is what keeps me, like for me, this is what's fun in the hobby where, okay, let's say I'm buying 10 Mike Trouts at the time for whatever, $30. And I'm let's say I buy 10, they double in price. They're, at 60. Okay, I'm going to sell 5 to make my money back. So then these other 5 are free, like in my mind.
There you go.
So then I could throw them in one of these 1,000 boxes that I have, sign it and date it like I do. Yeah. And then in 10 years from now, I look at it, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And so keep that in mind too. Like what I do is I try and when I buy cards, I try and buy enough.
Get your initial back.
Yeah. I'm hedging.
100%. And I was going to touch on that. So basically, since all my Mike Trout money was in a sense just free that I made, so it was more of like, let me just do what I want with it. So I sold the Giannis's. I made roughly about 8,000 to 10,000 off of Giannis at the time, which was a good amount. So once again, I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, like what do I do here? Like what do I do? Like who's next and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there, and I actually had the pleasure of meeting Luka when he first touched down in the States in Vegas. My best friend is they're from the same city, and they spoke the same language. And it goes back to that point. Such a humbled kid. I know coming to the United States, it's always, it was probably tough. He's a young kid and that, but it's just one of those things where, I mean, I don't know if it's just a way you look at somebody, but you could tell the way he carried himself and just the way that he was, that, he was very humbling, and it almost felt to me like, wow, I found him. So when I sold my Giannis's, this is the fun part. I bought 21 ungraded raw Luka Doncic's for $16 each at the time. Unbelievable. And I remember this like it was yesterday. I bought 4 PSA 10s just to like hold my investment. So for everyone out there, what I like to say is if you have about, not to get off track, this is going to be about a minute. If you have $2,000 and let's say the guy that you want to buy is worth $50 each, right? And then a PSA 10 is worth $100 each. You got 2,000. Buy 10 PSA 10s. Spend $1,000, okay? And then buy 20 raw ones. Do your homework. Obviously, have the eye to look at them and sub them in. So, just for instance, just spitballing, if you were to take $1,000 investment, you had 10, and let's say those PSA 10s are worth 700 at one point, right? So you got $7,000, but now you only have 10 of them. So now you have 20 of the raw ones, and let's say you sent 20 in. Probably wasn't a popular player at the time, and they were probably handing out a lot of 10s. And this is kind of where you can really make your money. So you take 20 of them. Let's say you got 14 PSA 10s and you got 6 9s. So you look at your initial. If you just want to hold, I kind of do exactly what you're doing. But if you just take your initial and you only put 1,000 into the 20, you got 14 PSA 10s now, right? Obviously, you had to put a couple bucks in to certify them, but they're worth 700 each. Yours, I'm 14, 12, 28. You're talking $12,800 alone on your PSA 10s. Now you got those 6 PSA 9s. Not only did you make, you made like $3,000 or $4,000 on top, you got all your PSA 9s too. So always hedge, always buy those PSA 10s. I think it's a great idea. And back to my point where I was getting at was when I bought Luka, I had those 4 PSA 10s and I waited to submit. And I was going to Brooklyn and they rose. I paid $68 each and they went up to about $250 a pop. So I was like, I got about $700 odd. Also had a rookie signature PSA 10 that I paid $299 for the variation one. I bought it for my birthday, a little birthday present to myself. So everyone out there, treat yourself in the right way. You can treat yourself. Don't go out. Don't go to the bar. Buy $20 drinks. It adds up. Buy that $200 or $300 card and just put it away. Forget about it. Oh, yeah. So I sold those 4 PSA 10s for $1,000, and my initial in Luka was about $694 odd, right around there, between $694 and $780, somewhere in that frame. So I got my whole initial back, and I made $200. I was going to Brooklyn, wanted some extra money, and I still had all those cards sitting here. And yeah, and then the rest is kind of like history. We obviously know what happened with the bubble and how it peaked. I'm not going to lie. I'd be lying if I said it. When they went up to about $700, I sold 4 of them. Who can blame anyone out here that is watching this video? It was already free. So I just made $2,800 tax free. Uncle Sam, you don't have to come looking for me. uh, and I made 2,800 bucks, and it was just like, like, wow, like now I'm up. Now I'm up big. So what do I want to do with the other 17 plus the auto? And by the way, I did submit them. I left that part out. I didn't sell them raw for that much. I had submitted them, and I actually got 18 or 17 of the 21. And this goes back to my point. Submit him when he's not hot.
Yeah.
17 of the 21, I got PSA 10s.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is.
I agree. If submitting people when they're not the biggest things, they're gonna grade them easily or easier.
Right.
In my opinion.
Anything under the 499 mark for anyone out there. If your card's under 499, it's the bottom level for them. So if you, right here. Yeah. I mean, it changes. Trust me. I mean, it changes everything. The way they look at the card and everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's a great story. So like I love that because it's recent, it's real. The thing is like it basically walks you through the entire process of your mindset of why you bought them, why you sold them, why it's okay to sell them. And that's the fun part about this hobby too, is it's also fun because it's almost like Hulk tales, like when you talk to the older people in the hobby, or the people that have been in the hobby for a while, they're like, guess what card I had? And almost every person will timestamp their cards because they're like, I'm going to sell this card, but I'm going to timestamp it just in case, so I have some credibility down the line. And I'm not going to lie, I'll timestamp some, delete some after like a Jamarcus Russell. Just kidding. But did not invest in Jamarcus Russell, but he is still one of my favorite players of all time. That's going to be a different video, by the way. But anyways, that's what makes the hobby fun. Like, you're not going to hit big on everything. You're not going to know when to sell at the right times for everything. But as long as you're smart through the entire process, you're going to make money in the long run. It's not about short-term, winning and losing. It's the longevity of it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
For sure. So, no, that's great. I love it. So my question to you, and this is the thing I keep asking you over and over, who's next? You've been hitting it big. I want to know. Everyone wants to know. I want to know who's next. Make money.
Really? So really quick. So to touch back fastly on Luka, I had 17 left. We're sitting in quarantine, and I saw them rising. Didn't sell. I ended up selling them at about 2,400 each. So I sold 12 of them for 2,400 each, and I sold my autograph that I bought for $299 for 6,100. Totaled a good amount. I'm not going to go into the actual numbers, but it was, as you can see, the math is pretty good. At about a $16 investment to turn into that, plus fees and a little odd money here and there. But I held 5. So that's my thing also. Always, like you were saying, timestamp it, put them away. Even though, so they're down to about 1,500 right now. So some would say that I made a great move by selling, but some would also say you should have sold them all. Now, what I have to say to those people is sometimes it goes back to what I said, believe in your investment. It's not that I didn't believe. I just, it's money,
You made money from when you bought them. So like, yeah, you can make more money, but at the same time, you made regardless if you would have sold them all or not, you still made a ton of profit. The profit margin is more than healthy. So
yeah,
so those
absolutely.
People, I would tell those people to kick rocks. Like, you can only know so much. So
you can't blame a young kid. Keep in mind, I'm still in school, so just about to graduate, cash that real paycheck.
You're doing school or not, you're doing well. So I wouldn't worry about the people that are telling you, hey, you should have sold them all. I bet have been like, at least I have the option to buy or sell them or not. So
well, you are right. So let's go into it. Let's talk shop a little bit. So I have a good like it's funny because I've never went on and talked about it other than just some kind of like private investors and stuff like that. But this one's probably not going to come to you mostly like as a shock, but I just see so much peak in Devin Booker. Like, let's just talk Devin Booker. Like I the reason why these two are close is for the fact being that everyone knows Devin Booker, the bubble. That really got his name out there, and it bothers me so much because I watched him at Kentucky. I've been on him since day one. I remember getting all those like Panini contenders, like you said, the college cards, and I flipped them and I bought the Prizms and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton left, but I do still have some. And like just these two, like I mean, I picked up like a black gold sticker auto numbered out of 99 with a huge patch for like $100, and the same thing with this. And it's crazy for a guy that is so young. He's coming at the end of his contract. You never know. Phoenix played great this year. I actually he might have signed a big deal, but at the same time, just a young guy and the people that they could bring to that team and the way that that team is playing. That it's one of those things. Once again, we're getting into smaller guy, huge name, huge ceiling. If he played for the Warriors, forget about it. Forget about it.
Yeah.
So just a huge ceiling there for him. What to buy though? Like I get it a lot. What do I buy? Oh, so I just buy anything, Devin Booker. No, we're gonna go back to that. And I'm sure, like you said, you got probably a lot to talk about that. So let me just pick your brain here a little bit. Let's say I bring you, and I know we talked. We're kind of on a little bit of the same guy here. What are you buying a Booker? Like let people know a little bit. Like what do you think that they should buy? Now I know I brought up Prizms, obviously, but go ahead.
Yeah, for me, honestly, it's Prizm. I buy the stuff that's like the most popular. And Prizm is like to me is the best buy because for me it's all about liquidity. Like I want to know exactly what I can make from it. I want the most popular thing. I want I'll pay premium all day.
Right.
Like I said earlier, I rather have a dirty quarter than a shiny penny because when I want to sell something, I want to know exactly what I'm going to sell it for. And I bought stuff where super super short print, super rare, where in this industry is changing so much where there's so much new money coming in, which is I love it. But
Yeah.
also you got to think strategically where if there's so much new money coming in, maybe they're not as educated, which we're going to get them there, but maybe not as educated, so they don't really know how rare some of this short print stuff is. So for me, I'd rather go with the catalyst of Prizm, and and it makes it super easy. Keep it super clean. Prizm, PSA 10s, PSA 9s, and
Oh, you're a 9 guy.
yeah,
9, yeah. There's nothing wrong with 9s. I love, obviously everyone loves the 10s, but 9s, if you look at margins and you put stuff up all the time, you can make good profit margins on 9 for the people that don't have all that money to put in.
So for me, it's all about looking at the industry as a whole. If there's new money coming in, so Devin Booker is affordable at a PSA 10, in my opinion, like for what the value is. But when this dude takes off, which he will,
Oh, he will. Yeah, yeah.
the PSA 9s will have a higher appreciation because they'll be more affordable for everyone.
Right.
And that's what I like, liquidity. I want to move
Yep.
when I want to sell something. I don't want to wait more than 2 days. I want to be able to sell it like literally within 2 hours.
Right. Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, and another big thing is a lot of people say it. I'm just starting off. I don't have a lot of money, and it goes back to the thing like I gotta get a Luka, I gotta get a Luka, I gotta get a Luka. Go after those small guys, and this is a guy I'm gonna get to right now. Go after those small guys. Buy the correct stuff. Like, I mean, Bam Adebayo. I've had him since the beginning of the year. I have a bunch here that I wanted to sub in, but unfortunately, with everything, life busy, and then all this quarantine and all that happened. But look for guys that have ceiling, and kind of something that I saw in Bam was Anthony Davis. To me, it screamed Anthony Davis. He can not so much like a shoot from the perimeter, but the way that he shoots free throws, the way that he can handle the ball at his type of frame, and playing on a team like the Miami Heat, that have that star power behind them. So not only do you have to look at a guy, you look at their team, you look at their demeanor, where they came from. Another Wildcat right there. We're talking about Wildcats. You got Devin Booker and shout out John Calipari. So he's great, whatever he does with those guys, and they just turn out to be great guys in the league. And it's just something that you just have to look at. But my biggest guy is not to go too fast, but my biggest guy by far, Trae Young.
Yeah.
Trae Young. I'm Trae.
I've been saying it for like a year now. Like,
I remember buying raw cards. I have it written down here. I remember buying raw cards for $27 each. They're still really cheap for everyone out there. They're still extremely cheap. The only thing you have to be a little concerned about, why haven't they been sent to PSA? And for that question, you got to be your own judgment. You got to kind of looking at cards, and obviously the way that the card is centered and all that good stuff. But you have to be your own judge on that. But even in quarantine.
for that, I don't know, most of my fans here that know about it, starstock.com, our new platform that I'm personally with, um, that's a huge factor, is, for the new people coming in, where we don't really, it's hard to tell. Like, it's hard to tell even for me.
So hard.
I buy stuff on eBay all the time where I'm getting it, and like maybe 1 out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10 cards are gradable for maybe a 9, maybe a 10, like 8, 9, or 10.
Mm-hmm.
But for StarStock, there's StarStock grades. So you have an A, B, and C. A is where, in our opinion, it's going to be at least a PSA 9 or 10.
Right.
You're going to pay a little bit of a premium for those, but I'll pay a premium all day, because I would rather buy one card that I know will grade that than trying to buy 10 cards and hopefully one will buy that, or one of them will grade like that. So yeah, sorry not to cut you off there.
No. I mean, that's a great point. Like, just for instance, like, so I know he went up a lot in quarantine. Trae Young, PSA 10s. They were up, they touched about 660, 680. I watched it very well. They went to about 450, and then they jumped to about 550. And I started to get calls like, hey man, like, I bought these Trae Youngs, like, from the people that I analyze and send out certain things to, and we're going to touch on that topic. But they were all calling me, hey, should I sell, man? Should I sell? It's a huge return. I only paid 130, 140 each for these 10s. And I'm like, don't sell. So I will be completely honest. I could be right. I could be wrong. I didn't sell one Trae Young in quarantine. I just thought 680 was undervalued, for the reason being, perfect example. Giannis was 7,000. Luka at max was 24. That's undervalued too. In my opinion, they're 1,500 now, but at the time, the way the market was going, it was undervalued. I knew if Trae Young had a good, like, if he was playing for a solid team and he was out there playing.
Yeah, if he was playing in the bubble, it would have been a
1,100. And I probably, not going to lie to you, I would have probably sold, because I have a mass quantity of them, because I got them for such a low cost. So right now they sit at about 450. Some would say, you should have sold, but look at that. Luka, just to bring it up, I sold Luka at 24. Now they're 15. That's a $900 difference. That's a huge difference. I held my Trae Youngs. They went from 660 to 450. That's not a big, like, you're not getting a huge gain there in the long run, at least for me, from what I'm seeing out of him. And he just has that, look, the demeanor's there, the work ethic's there. They just got rid of Vince Carter, free up some cap space. They're going to get hopefully some solid draft picks, and he's still on that rookie contract where you never know, or maybe him and Zion, him and Steph, you just never know. So the peak is there. I also like the fact that he's not a huge driver. You got to look at that. Does your guy get down and dirty? Does he have a potential to get hurt? Trae Young kind of stays on the perimeter, does his thing. And I mean, not to knock him at all. Trae Young, you're great. Love you.
That brings up, I've never heard, like, I'm not.
You've never heard that?
Yeah, I'm not a basketball expert.
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting.
Giannis scared me, and that's why I sold my Giannis's. So to touch base on that, I remember when Luka went down and when he was playing the Clippers, and I still had him, so my stomach was dropping quite a bit. And it just brings up that aspect. Like, this kid doesn't do that. He knows his game. He sticks to his game. He doesn't try to be more than he is. He's going to be a great player. All in all, he's going to be a great player. And it's the same thing with D Book. Yeah, they come in, but they don't come in for the slam. They do mostly like reverse and stuff like that. And they're mostly on the perimeter, like Drake said it, wet like on Book, man. If you got a shot like that, you don't need to drive.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes care of a lot of curiosity for those big investors, for you big guys out there. That's something that you have to look at. Even your little guy, anybody, you just have to look at that aspect of the game.
No, that's a great aspect. And this actually brings me to the point, or brings me up to, I know you and I were talking before, you're creating um, some kind of group like where you're going to be giving tips and tricks out
Mhm.
um, as well, and it's going to be called what is it, rips.io.
Rips.aio, and you can find us on Instagram. The link should be in here. So basically what that's going to be is it's not launched just yet. So we're working on a lot of things. I'm also in partners with two other people, but basically what it is I'm going to be handling the financial side of it. We are going to have um, proxies and bots that are going to notify members within 3 seconds of when packs and cards are packs and boxes drop for retail. Just for instance, a $20 blaster box nowadays sells for like 80, or like or a mosaic or stuff like that that costs 20, 30, 40 bucks that flips for 160. Members are going to have that exclusive access to get that direct link to be able to touch that for retail. And it's going to be your money back. So there is a little fee involved, and I can go on and on about that, but it's going to be pretty exclusive. We're thinking about doing a Black Friday thing of letting only very few members in. Um, Follow our page. There's going to be a lot more info on it. And just to show you a little bit about what it could be, I'm going to share my screen here to show you what members are going to be able to touch for a fraction of the cost. Very, very little. And this is going to be members exclusive. We're going to have access to stuff like this. So if you're a Luka Doncic fan, if you're any fan, you're going to love to watch this video. So I'm going to lower that. So basically you're seeing a lot of autographed memorabilia and balls like that. And now I know they don't have the sticker or PSA or JSA on them, but nowadays they do. And that's another thing. Members are also going to have exclusive access for authenticating items, which is normally 30 or 40 bucks, and you have your shipping and all that. I have an exclusive rep with PSA, and for members, it's only going to be $13. So obviously you can see the money and the value that you're saving for a cost of only a $35 a month fee. Just all this stuff that you're going to be accessible to. And then you're going to get my personal financial analysis, and I'm going to show you how to make a lot of money and have a lot of fun in a hobby that has done so much for me. It's pretty much changed my life. School, paying for school for it, being able to go on trips, and not having to kill myself while I'm in school, but at the same time have so much fun with it, and something that I can also do in the middle of the night when I come home, or having something to look forward to. And here's a little picture for you guys really quick. I don't want to go too in depth, but this was just a couple of the Lukas I had. Obviously you can see that PSA 10 auto down there. You can see the 9s and some of the 10s. This was just a little bit. And I actually still have, this was just from one sub with Trae Young. That auto right there, that's a pop 3. Paid about 380 bucks for it. It's going to be pretty tough to find that on the market nowadays. You guys can see probably the date on that of June 8th. That's when I took the picture. So he was actually still pretty relatively cheap at that time. And yeah, check it out. It's going to be so much fun. And it's going to be something where you don't have to have a lot of knowledge on this. And I'm going to guide you, and I'm going to show you. And not only that, I'm going to offer things that just alone, if you submit 2 items, you just save 40 bucks, and I physically walk them into PSA, and or I have a rep come over to my house or such like that. And it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait to get into it. I can't wait to share my knowledge like I'm doing with you. And it's awesome. It's something that I really enjoy doing, and not to toot my own horn, but something that I'm extremely good at.
Awesome. No, dude, that's exciting, man. That's obviously a lot of fun, and I'm excited to hear more. So, with all this information, guys, I'll be putting it down in the. Just scroll down; it'll be in the bio there. I'll put some links in there for everyone for to be able to reach out to Joe for any of this. I know it's still in the development stages, so we'll keep everyone updated on that, and we'll make sure that we have the appropriate channels of getting information to everyone that wants it. So
yeah, it's going to be accessible, but not too accessible at first. So about a month. Launch is supposed to be about December 1st. But like I said, follow us for more. We do respond to DMs. I constantly respond to as many as possible, and I'll answer any of your questions. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. There's going to be, like I said, there's going to be an exclusive Black Friday thing going on. So turn the notifications on. I'm very active on there. So are my partners. And yeah, let's make money together. Let's grow together.
Awesome. No, dude, Joe, that's awesome. I want to say thank you for joining today. This was a lot of fun.
Yo,
Excited. I'm sure we'll do a few more videos here throughout the
absolutely.
time.
Pleasure is all mine.
Yeah, and talk some cards. And yeah, well, awesome. Well, for today, that's all we got. If anyone needs anything, always reach out. Feel free to like, subscribe, share this page if you don't mind. Scroll down, look at some of my other videos. We have a lot of videos coming up. And yeah, thank you for everyone. You guys have a great rest of your day and enjoy the hobby. Have fun.
Have a good one, everyone. Follow
Thanks,
Jimbo's
dude.
page.
Yeah, you're right.